Surf's up. It's Maui Snake here with a free agent bench players tier list. This is actually something that Medal of Valor, a viewer on my stream, redeemed for channel points some time ago. I'm finally getting to it because the season is just starting, but there's some players here that could probably be playing at a high level. B-Trams, aka Smart Backwards, was kind enough to put this together, even putting their names.
Hey guys, the sponsor of this video is Skin Club, the case opening website. They've been getting extremely involved with the esports space lately, sponsoring teams like Vitality, the Mongols, SAW. They recently sponsored the HLTV Awards, which they were kind enough to fly me out to. So if you like my content on here or on my Twitch, check out their community portal on their website to consume more esports related and focused content by people like myself, cadiaN, and James Banks. There are deeper dive articles, tier lists from people like myself, and articles about pro skin loadouts. I also publish some of my content monthly over there, so be sure to give them a look.
Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, the tiers that I have created are should be playing now, deserves a shot, could use a chance, kind of like a stand-in situation. Tier 2 to 3, stay down, which kind of implies that they should probably just keep their bench salary. Not entirely, though. And then finally, retire. Stick to the content grind. Okay, so first up, acoR. acoR was playing with Gamer Legion for like a minute. I think he played with them at the, was it Dallas event for them? Didn't look that good. Wasn't that impressed with it, but I don't think that he needs to, I don't think he's really on a bench contract or anything like that. I would put him in the tier 2 to 3 category. Work your way back up, you know? Shuhei made you better, but not really sure of what you're capable of today. So I don't think he's in the could use a chance like a stand-in for a real tier 1 or tier 1.5 team. I think he's a little bit beneath that from what he demonstrated at Dallas. And now aerial, who was playing on Yano with aLu and a few other Finnish guys. I think that's the end of the road for these guys. I'm not going to lie. I feel like aerial and aLu both, it's over, okay? I think the dream's pretty much dead in that capacity. You know, they hit the highs that like we didn't even know they were capable of next to Alexi B, and through a series of bad roster decisions by adding Sunny, removing Alexi B, they faded deeper and deeper into obscurity to the point now where I think this is more of a passion project than a real way to actually secure a livelihood. So might be time to move on. Next up, we got Altekz. He was on Astralis Academy a long time ago, Astralis Talent. Bounced around for a little bit, but I think he was pretty solid in the anchor positions for a while. I don't know if his roles changed. I would just put him in the solid tier 2 to 3. anarkez has been really just floating around through a lot of rosters for a while. I mean, I saw him maybe at the peak of his powers, which is kind of a crazy statement to make about a player that really never broke out of tier 2 or maybe best tier 1.5. And yeah, all in all, I don't really see... I mean, he was always kind of decent when he was on, I think, Smash? Team Secret is what I watched him on. And then most recently, he played for BC Game, where he didn't really do too much. I think that he's just kind of a tier 2 farmer at this point. aNdu played recently for Gamer Legion. I don't really have a strong opinion about aNdu today because I don't even know what the last team that he played on was. So I don't know if it was Gamer Legion or what, but Copenhagen Wolves, we're going to keep him in the... Should I say stay down or tier 2? Stay down's a little bit rude. Now, okay, arrrozdoce. I feel like we saw so much potential from this guy when he was on the Iberian rosters, but as of what he did on NIP, he was pretty bad. I think the transition to English was probably a bit too tough for him. I'm going to put him in could use a chance because I know what he was capable of not very long ago, and I think we've seen that he is... an entirely capable player that probably could even play tier 1, but just for the right team. So could use a chance. Definitely fits here. AZUWU, man, I feel like AZUWU Sprout became such a ridiculous meme that we sort of just keep saying it to this day. On Talon, they didn't really achieve the success that they were looking for. I think they all got released at the same time, but I'm going to put him in the stay down category because he's probably on a bench salary or something like that from talon, and someone needs to finally get in there. Actually, it says he parted ways with talon as he was on the bench. I don't know if he's really worthy of competing at any level right now. So I haven't seen anything. On Sprout, they said he was behind the meta. So I would almost recollect yourself and then come back into the fray. Now, AZUWU, this guy might need a chance. This guy is maybe more than could use a chance. He might even deserve a shot. I actually really liked what he did from Saw in the very limited amount that I saw. But, I mean, the consistency wasn't there. Saw pivoted back to being a full Portuguese lineup, and he kind of was left in the wake. I thought Sayat and him were both pretty solid. I thought they were the better looking aspects of that Saw lineup. So I'm actually kind of high on AZUWU. A little bit high on British Counter-Strike today. Bartine, man, it's been a minute for him as well. I'm going to put him in the tier, maybe tier 2 to 3. I don't really see a Brazilian roster that he could slot on immediately. Brehze needs to show it back in tier 2. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest with him, okay? He had his opportunities on NRG and everything like that. I hyped him up. I thought that he was going to make it, but yeah, this guy is he benched or is he actually in the No, he's just off the team. Yeah, I don't know. I thought I was high on him in the beginning, but let's even move this guy up a little bit away from him. Let's do that. Let's do a little bit of ordering here. Burmylov, stay down. Just stay down. Okay, face it. Just face it. Grind. Stay down also kind of means just grind for a little bit and face it. Solo practice. Yeah, this was a disastrous signing for Fnatic. All of the goodwill that Ross was able to collect with working with Endpoint and working with Fnatic for a bit, worked with a couple teams to find some real diamonds in the rough. Mostly these Israeli players that you'd heard of, like the Nurses of the world. I think you might have even found Spinks as well. Burmylov was a huge swing and a miss from Ross R, and definitely deserves to stay down. Now, Buzz, I thought this guy should be playing. I thought he was a reason that OG were halfway decent. I'm going to put him there. Bymas, feel like it's been long enough. He should be playing. I don't know what he's doing. Man, this is actually looking pretty dire, isn't it? Brehze is not going to make it. Well, okay, Brehze should grind face it till he gains his confidence back. All right, there we go. Now, Bymas, probably in the tier 2, 3. I haven't seen this guy forever. cadiaN, it might be time. I feel like content, talent work, all of that is calling your name at this point. I'm going to be honest. The Astralis gig was the best gig you were going to get. You got Liquid and Astralis back to back, and both were disastrous. So yeah, I'm not sure about that, about continuing to play. I feel like you have so much social cachet and clout that you should just move on to the greener pastures. He wasn't awful with the op when he left Heroic Wildcard. Should have picked up cadiaN. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't actually no. I can't say that. If I think he deserves a chance on Wildcard, nah, I don't think so. chayJESUS, didn't even think he was the problem for Imperial. They've since changed up their roster. He's probably the least impressive part of Imperial, though, who have Cello, Vinny, Tri, SHR, and No Way. I probably would have chayJESUS. I'm gonna put him at the stay down category. Crucial. Definitely top of tier 2 or tier 3. Every time I watched him, he was always solid, but it's been a while. And now, finally, a guy that deserves something, okay? Dexter definitely should be playing now. No way that a person that wins a tier 1 MVP in the most recent season should not be on a team. That's whack, okay? I get it's Monacy for him, so what can you really say? That's like the knock for device style transfer, but there's no reason that this guy shouldn't be on a team unless the buyout is just too high. So he might be in a little bit of a prison of the Falcons design. Otherwise, should definitely be playing. Dexter is kind of curious. It feels like, FlyQuest upgraded some of the firepower. Ince went back to the IGL role. I don't see a reason that he shouldn't deserve a chance on a team when he sometimes did pop off. Sometimes I think teams could probably, like Dexter would be a good wildcard pickup. That's my take. Dexter wouldn't be the worst wildcard pickup instead of using Sonic as the in-game leader right now. So could use a chance for sure. Djoko also could use a chance. I think 3D Max didn't really, they showed a little, barely any progress ever since they got body for Djoko, but I felt like he was solid. I don't even know if I necessarily thought that he was the problem, but it just made the most sense one for one for body. Now, FaNg, with how North America is going right now, he definitely could use a chance. Okay, I'm not saying he deserves a chance or deserves a shot on a top roster in Europe, but in North America, you see what's going on over there right now, guys? Like Carson just got on a team, and I'm saying FaNg could just use a chance for sure. Okay, now Phelps. Oh, he's been bad though for a while. I would stay down. Let's stay down for a while. Let's lie low for a bit. Fessor. I thought that he was good. I thought he was good for a minute. I think he's above tier 2, 3. Let's put him at the bottom of could use a chance. Good aggressive Danish rifler. Flammus. Deserves a shot for sure. That was an environment problem. The first person to make it into the deserves a shot category is definitely Flammus. Him failing on VP, to me, is more by design than actually something I would pin onto Flammus. So deserves a shot, bare minimum, maybe even playing now, but someone needs to fill out this category. Flammus Glaze is crazy. One good season got figured out and has been he hasn't been figured out. He got put in completely different positions. Floppy definitely could use a chance. With no doubt. Again, with how North America is going right now, definitely give this guy a shot on a North American roster. I don't know if he's been playing at all, though, but to me, on complexity, he was not the problem. He was just a symptom. His play was a symptom of their lack of initiative on certain CT sides. Forrester deserves a shot for sure. I never had a problem with Forrester, even on the AMCall days. Good aggressive rifler. I mean, actually, you know what? arrrozdoce deserves a shot more than Forrester. We're going to put Forrester in the could use a chance category and arrrozdoce definitely up one. Okay, there. Freeman. I thought this guy was good. I thought he was one of the better people from East Asia. Probably tier 2, 3, China, but let's put him there. GXX, I'm going to put him at the bottom, kind of next to anarkez. He's a little better than acoR and anarkez. Maybe something like this. No, Freeman, I'm saying respective to his scene, he deserves a shot for sure. hAdli. This guy's been tweeting up a storm lately. I haven't really seen him play since the OniPixel roster, the Drilla's roster. And then he played for Monty after that. I thought he was probably the best player on the OniPixel roster, one of the best players. I'm going to say could use a chance. I'm going to put him in the could use a chance category for sure. He's funny on Twitter too. Now, hampus. This guy deserves a shot, okay? If we're talking in-game leaders, he got Metasport, who had 0 firepower, to the major, okay? For sure deserves a shot. I don't even care if the season sucked. Hampus on G2 would make sense to me. I think even he should be playing now. Should be playing now or deserves a shot. Did you see the people that he had on his team, man? Definitely deserves a shot. Hen1, definitely could use a chance. Red Canids was a bad project, but for the Brazilian teams right now, he was statistically, he was the same player as Try, but Try obviously had a much higher ceiling. We know the player that Henny is. I love watching him play. He's kind of like the Brazilian Brokey in a lot of ways, passive at the beginning of the round, but then he just kind of goes supernova in the mid-late round. I liked Henny. Furia hasn't been the same ever since they dropped Henny, okay? I don't even care what happens with Molodoy. They still haven't been the same, okay? They were way more consistent with Henny, with Art, Henny, Yuri, Queserado, and Vinny than they'd been since then. Way better as a team. They were a top 10 team regularly. Now they're just kind of barely a top 10 team. iDISBALANCE. That whole 9 Pandas team was not great. I'm going to put them in the stay down category. I think he's probably even better than some of the people here. Okay, fine, tier 2. That's fair. That's more fair. He's better than acoR, I think. He's better than GXX, I think. Infinite, I just want to see him keep grinding in tier 2. I'm going to put him in the tier 2 category right there. He was such unbridled talent for a while, but I feel like something happened in the last few years where he calmed down and kind of, I don't know if he started coasting or relaxing, but seems like the ceiling that was once there is maybe no longer. BBL interz, really good system player, but not necessarily player that is going to raise your... He doesn't really change anything about your floor or your ceiling. He's not really a win more player, nor is he a lose more player. He's just a player that kind of keeps everything in check. I'm going to keep him in the stay down category. I want to see him rethink things as an individual and maybe update his individual game. He's still playing like it's 2015 anchoring. I'm going to put him even beneath Burmylov right now. Yeah. Burmylov probably deserves the top of this list. Jerry, definitely retire. You're way bigger as a streamer now. Just retire. jkaem, stay down. Just stay down for a while. Like, you need to figure out a lot of things in terms of your financials in order to come back with us really believing in you. So yeah, he's in the stay down category for sure. As a player, without the extracurricular activities, he definitely would be in the deserves a shot or sort of category, but with what's transpired lately, he's definitely in the stay down. JL should be playing now. I'm just going to put that out there. Should be playing now. Definitely maybe not for Navi, but he should be playing on a team. I don't even care that he wants to take a break. He should be playing. Now, Juan Flatro could use a chance. I've been always really high on this guy, and probably too high. But if I'm putting Fessor there, I'm putting Juan Filatra a little bit above. Keto, grind your way back up in tier 2, buddy. Grind your way back up. I don't want to see it as an IGL either, okay? Not as an IGL. cadiaN, work on the attitude. I'm going to say stay down. I feel like he's got to work on the attitude a little bit longer. I don't even know if I've heard anything rumbling lately about the attitude, but he's better than people in tier 2, tier 3, but he's a bit much. He's a bit much. Crad. I haven't really heard any rumblings about this. I haven't really heard anything about Crad lately. I haven't been watching him enough. I'll probably just put him at top of tier 2, 3. Lekro, I know him, but I feel like he's more just tier 2, tier 3. That's just what he's doing, right? Liazz, I'm going to say stay down. Stay down just meaning find yourself again, play face it, grind it out, gain some confidence back, because definitely not the player that any team really needs right now whatsoever. His attitude just felt really, really negative for a while. Every interview and everything, he just felt like he was forced to do them, and it got worse and worse. It was kind of like towards the tail end of Floppy. Very similar individuals that they both kind of faded into a cycle of lacking confidence. And I think Liazz needs to go through that. Now, Magisk definitely deserves a shot. Deserves a shot, bare minimum. I know that I was against Magisk for Falcons, but that's for Falcons. He should either be playing now or deserves a shot on a good team right now. That's a stand-in. First 2 tiers would make a good team. IMO, Dexter, JL, Flamus, hampus, Magisk. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a good team. Now, magixx should be playing now and not Minecraft. He should be actually playing CS right now. Definitely not the problem on Spirit, just a player that wasn't good enough to be a top 2 team in the world at the time. These are all fine players. All of these guys are fine. Now, Montu started impressing me a lot towards the tail end of what he was doing with Big. Like, he carried them in individual games. When they decided to bench Montu and bring on Searson, it was the beginning of the end. I really think it was the beginning of the end. I think he took a map off of Spirit individually. Was that at Blast last year? Like, he was really sharp, or was it Cloud9 or something like that, actually? I think he definitely could use a chance. I'm going to put him a little higher than some of these guys, actually. Yeah. Montu definitely could use a chance. Now, MHL played for Talon too. I'm just going to put him in tier 2, 3. I'm not really sure. I heard so much good stuff about him, but yeah, the Talon stint, maybe not. Mighty Max, you're just, I'm going to be honest, you're a tier 2 lifer. You're a tier 2, tier 1 life. Tier 2 and what the random good tournament lifer. It is what it is. Mir also could probably use a chance. I know he kind of has that same cadiaN effect where it seemed like there were some attitude issues, but I think he's always been better than cadiaN, and he's shown that he can win at a higher level. In fact, it almost feels like when they went electronic for Mir, that's when VP fell off. Yeah. So sort of one of those roster moves where you think, oh, electronic for Mir, surely this is good for VP. But VP was way more consistent with Mir than they ever were with electronic. Mr. Again, I haven't seen Sashi at all lately. And also, other than them just beating Liquid. I think I'm going to put him right next to Altekz. Why not? Yeah. Norbert. Definitely, my bias is coming out here. Definitely could use a chance. Bare minimum. No way he should not be playing still. No way. Oh, we are Nor believers here. We are Nor believers. It's Norbin time. What did Harry always say? The GOAT. He just called him the GOAT. He literally said it while he was casting. He just called him the GOAT, which is insane as a caster, but it is what it is. Nafany, stay down. Keep working on yourself, buddy. Also, consider content creation. I feel like he actually became a pretty big personality in the Russian-speaking spaces. So consider this with Jerry. Consider that. You know, you had a good run, but we saw the limit of your powers. Knock. Is he not playing? I almost feel like he deserves a shot. Maybe lightly below Mantu there. I think Mantu deserves more of a shot than Knock. I think I like Mantu more as an opper. I'm going to do this. Here, that's my ordering there. NBK. Great mind for the game still. Talked to him a lot at Blast, actually. He told me about something that people are not really abusing maybe as much as he thought they would, which is just running and shooting in Counter-Strike. But it's kind of weird because I think NBK could be an asset to an up-and-coming team as a veteran voice, but also he's kind of in the retire category of he could do so much away from the game. But I think that's a little rude because he still has that fire in him. And I know some of these guys have that fire in them still, but not like he's really got it still. Like he really, dude, during Blast events, he was playing Face It before and after broadcast. Like he got a computer from Blast just to keep grinding. So I hate to see that. This is a narrative-driven bottom of could use a chance. A very narrative-driven could use a chance. NEKIZ. Gentlemen, okay? I'll never forget when I was playing FPL in North America that NEKIZ would give me an AK when I was on CT because I was the hot hand on those occasions that he gave me it. So for that reason, he in the Brazilian scene could use a chance. If they need a veteran voice, because they made him the IGL, okay? They made him the in-game leader of a team where he probably didn't want to do that, okay? And then that just ruins everything for you. Like, you know, it happens so often to the old player on a team where you just get pushed aside where our last IGL didn't work out. We need a new voice, but we want to bring in a fragger. Okay, now we're just going to make the old guy on the team become the IGL, even though he's never done it before, even though he's not doing a bad job necessarily. So that is what it is. I'm going to put him in could use a chance. Danish Nico. I'm going to just put him in tier 2-3, okay? OC being pushed for exotic. I am going to put OC in the stay down category. I like OC. I have fought for OC in the past, but what he did with NRG did not impress me. So I want him to just go back to face it, work on himself, come back when he feels like he's going to be just firing it up, you know? Okay, so we're going to put him next to jkaem. Fozy should be playing now. He should be playing now. I know that looks ridiculous compared to some of the people that he's next to, but he should definitely be playing now, okay? He was not the problem on wildcard. Fozy said on his stream today he got benched because he didn't want to IGL an op. Come on. Yeah, that's an easy should be playing now for me. All right. Kickert. Isn't he playing? Benched on Paravision? Ooh. Trav, what do you think of kicker? Tier 2-3? I'm going to take your word for it. Tell me exactly where, Trav, and maybe even say why. Maybe even say why. Top of tier 2-3 because he can absolutely still lead a team at that level, but Paravision did not make that step up to lands, and that's a big blight on his leadership record. Okay, so top right there. Boom. Resalt, just career suicide, buddy. You should be you could use a chance though. Okay, let's be honest. You could definitely use a chance. I'd even put you probably right next to AZUWU, but I called it right in the beginning. It was like, what are you doing? Like, Aurora is better. I know Deco's a head case. Just stay. The grass is not always greener. Boom. There we go. Thank you. Result deserves a chance. That Aurora team was a nightmare. Complete head cases. Darth Mike says Result deserves the chance, so he deserves a shot. I kind of agree with it. I kind of do agree with it, okay? Like, he was almost that Flammus level of up-and-comer from the Russian scene. He might even be better than Flammus, actually. You know what? I think he's better than Flammus. I think he's actually a better player than Flammus. I haven't seen enough, though. I'm gonna put him right there. Right there. Resalt above Hampus and Flammus. There he is. Okay, Refresh. I have no idea what he's been doing. I don't know what he's been up to lately. I'm going to put him in the bottom of tier 2-3. I just don't even know what he's been doing. Now, Regon. So on Big, he was done dirty, okay? They had to switch all of his roles. They made him an anchor. He didn't fit. He actually started getting it towards the end, okay? Actually, I'm gonna show you something. I haven't pulled up stats for anybody so far, but Regon's a guy where I want to shed a little bit of light on. I feel like he was, you know, he joined Big because he could speak German, and then he had a really tough time. Let me get the roster stuff for him on Big, actually, because that's when I watched him. I didn't watch what he did on Mix or Bad News Eagles, okay? I didn't see any of that, so I can't speak on that. But I watched a lot of what he did on Big. And you put these numbers on top 30 filter here, and beginning, bad. Didn't get the roles. Cologne playing, weirdly decent. Okay, it was hit or miss, but there were some signs. What did I watch where I was kind of lightly impressed by him? So let's see what he did here. Bad versus the Mongols, good versus complexity. This is probably what stuck in my mind. I'm not going to lie. Some of this stuff stuck in my mind. Did some good work against some teams who even have good executes, and he was able to hold on. But then big events, like who was he playing here? Pain, G2. Okay, you were never going to beat them on Big. You were never going to be good against them on Big. But opening stage, this might be the biggest blight. Good against complexity again. That's probably what I was watching again, where it was ingrained in my mind that he was not that bad. And that was in roles that he didn't want to play in. So definitely for me, top of could use a chance. Better than Norbert. No, not better than Norbert. Norbert's better. Better than Forrester. Let's do that. Better than Floppy. And yeah, he's going to be right there and could use a chance for sure. Roman. I think Roman's in retire. I'm not going to lie. He wasn't even horrendous for Saw at the end, but I could count on him to bottom frag every single time. He was pretty clutch, but... And one time, when was it? He held down that A bomb site of nukes so well. When was that? I remember there was this one game where I was just having to eat my words like crazy for what Roman was doing. Is he coming up again? Is he on the come up? Is Roman back? He's back. 2 maps. No, but look at this. And he was on soft for look at how long. I think it was no joke 5 years. 2019 to present, 6 years? Holy. Yeah, this was a long ass time to be on this team. Long AF. 1.03 rating the entire time. And versus the best teams, though, not good enough. Yeah, Roman, you're going to sit in the retire category for me. I know you gave your life to see us in Portuguese Counter-Strike, but you did your job, okay? Rush, I don't know anywhere other than retire, really. Couldn't really make it work in the tier 2, tier 3 area of North America. And it's not even like there was some potential, like an OC or a Breeze here, who I feel like they could just work on themselves and come back. Darth Mike or anybody that's been watching tier 2 NA, what's going on with Rush? I think he's at a point where he can't really afford to be part of a roster that's not salary, but isn't consistent enough to justify a spot. He could be fine as a vet presence, like you were talking about NEKIZ. Okay, if I put NEKIZ that could use a chance, then Rush probably could use a chance on a wild card level team. But I'll put him in the middle of tier 2 then, next to Keto and Mighty Max. That's fair. That's fair. Shalfie, bro, I'm not really sure. I think he was worse than Crad. I'm gonna put right above Infinite. Kurwa, so many ex-Gamer Legion players. Oh, God. You really think Shalfie could be bottom of Use a Chance? Okay, Trav, I trust you more than I trust myself on these things because you've been watching these people more than I have. Slend probably could use a chance, for being completely honest. Ash just found something better. Ash is min-maxing out there. But Slend had a little bad stretch for himself. Is there any AWPer here that I would say is better than Slend is the real question. You know, I can't believe aNdu's here. Actually, I thought aNdu was better. I'm going to put aNdu top of tier 2, tier 3. I thought he was actually kind of decent. I don't know what Ash didn't see in him, but I saw more moments from aNdu lately than most people in this category. Slend clears knock. That's bold. I'm going to put Slend, I'm going to put him above Henny. There we go. Okay, Stadodo, tier 2, tier 3. I'm going to put him above Crucial, though. Top of tier 2, tier 3. You know, best AWPer in tier 2, tier 3. Stanislaw, yeah, bro. Deserves a shot for sure. Maybe not the highest deserves a shot. His fragging became abhorrently bad. So bad that it was actually almost like, are you looking at your crosshair at any point in time in a round? But come on. He made Wildcard look cohesive and beat teams that they shouldn't have a couple of times. I don't know if should be playing now is fair. Like, who should he be playing for? So this is almost talking about tier 1 only, guys. Should be playing now and deserves a shot. Like I'm talking like a top 15 team. Surreal, I have no strong opinion about right now. I haven't seen him play for a long time since Into the Breach? Was he on that? I mean, I just remember him with Crucial, Mighty Max, just that endpoint roster. That's all I really remember, and I haven't seen that for a while. So I'm gonna put him here next to Lekro. It's just been too long since I've watched some of these guys. Okay, Searson. I'm in the stay down category for Searson here. Okay, he's probably the best player today in the stay down category, maybe along with jkaem, but I need him to figure some things out. If Big weren't willing to stay with you and picked up Hyped instead, who's been meddling for them, I think that there's some issues there that really need to be addressed. And so stay down. I'm not saying stay down people should be out of the scene as a player, but they need to rethink what they're doing just a bit. Stiko is really curious because I think Stiko could be making bank right now as a content creator. I almost do this, you know, as respectfully as possible. Stiko might be in the retire category because he has a strong enough brand presence and personality. He could work events occasionally. I don't know what events are hiring him because Blast kind of moved to liking Dupree quite a bit, but he could probably get some event gigs. He could probably just make content. Seems like he gets a lot of the pro players to go on his content, and that'll always get you a lot of views. So I'm almost feeling this. I feel like that's the hottest take of this entire thing. With zero disrespect to Stiko as an individual player, I think it just would be better for your livelihood to go into retire. That's why I'm putting it there. I think he could still be an asset, but with the whole inner circle thing not working out, I'm not really feeling it out on in terms of his future as a player, when it probably is more like this. He's probably in the high tier 2, tier 3. Veteran presence can help teams out a lot, but he seems more suited for the content game now. So that's why he's there. Zorte, I think he was actually fine. I think he was totally fine. I think he's better than Stadodo today. No, Stadodo is a little better. Let's put him there. Let's put him right above MHL. Okay. Volt, another ex-GL player. Haven't seen him on his last roster all too much. Who was he playing? He was playing with Gamer Legion, and then I think tier 2, tier 3 better than a few of these guys. Probably right between Mr. and Altekz. There we go. xFloud, I think this guy should be playing. I definitely think he should be playing now. He was good on Heroic, okay? For sure he was doing good. I don't see any world where xFloud shouldn't be playing. I thought he was their second best player most of the time. I thought it was taniR and xFloud, pretty much. And then I guess you throw in SunPius. But if SunPius left and Grix got brought on, maybe xFloud is the third best player behind taniR and Grix. Maybe, but he might even be better than Grix. I think Skulls should go back to tier 2, tier 3. Pretty simply put. Skulls is a guy that I have obviously called out numerous times. I think the problem is that people's eye test of Skulls was so biased by the fact that Skulls is cute. And I'm going to keep saying that. The eye test of looking at Skulls is that he's got a good smile, he looks cute, seems to have a positive attitude. But in terms of what I had heard, I'm going to also be more blunt. What I had heard behind the scenes from people that had worked with Skulls is that they weren't really too fond of what he was bringing into practice, into the server, and anything like that. And also, that transpired based off of his performances with every team that he's been on ever since Pain. And you watch his demos, and the guy is just standing in the middle of the open and hoping he flick shot somebody sometimes. That's crazy to me, man. That's just crazy. I think like an Imperial level lineup could maybe have used him, but I even think that might be fool's gold. I really think that might be fool's gold too. It's just the eye test can be so snappy and sharp with his aim. Here's the hottest comparison possible. Skulls is the Brazilian Borup. He is the Brazilian Borup, okay? And I'm gonna show you. Borup got many chances on these rosters over and over again. You look at what they both can accomplish in the server. They both were anchor players. They were both players that had a really good snappy aim. Like, look at headshot percentage here, 63%. Let's see what Skulls had even. I know that like this is eye test Andying for sure. 54%, okay, that's a bit lower. 0.93, 0.96, land top 20. How many maps did he even play? 100 for Borup, for Skulls, 139. For some reason, fans love to defend these guys both, but in reality, neither of them are really good. They both pass the eye test of hitting fast headshots, but in terms of actually playing smart, good CS, Borup would play the same spot on like 5 consecutive rounds on CT side and just get demolished. I would watch that in a half, okay? So this is to me in the tier 2, tier 3 category for sure. Simple. There's no question. There's no question about this. Should be playing now. Top-ups should be playing now. Easily should be playing now. If you're saying retire, you're a bum. You're a damn bum, okay? Dude, this dude humbled the Mongols. He's playing more Face It than Perfecto. I'm trying to read chat right now. 0.8 in Arena. 0.8 in Arena. Okay, he's like the Ukrainian Stound. He has the cocaine aim now, shaking after every shot and death. My face when I didn't watch Simple throughout his prime, like he obviously did the same thing in his prime. If you weren't there for Simple back in 2018, you can just say so. Stewie argued at times to be the GOAT of North America. Grand Slam, major winner, the most winningest American to ever play Counter-Strike. I know Liazz hit higher highs as an individual, but the winningest player from North America. The last tier 1 tournament that Stewie played, he won the damn thing. He won the damn thing. And he looked all right doing it. And then Stewie, gracious enough as he was, after winning a tier 1 trophy, comes into my stream, tells me all the backstory about how the inner workings of G2 are, gives us all the gossip, all the juice, and Richard, Two-Face Lewis, says that it is an abomination, even though Richard was gobbling up all the gossip. Thorn was gobbling up all the gossip. We all feasted on that, made our lives easier as content creators and pundits, and yet somehow they betrayed Stewie for giving us the greatest news cycle of the offseason of last year by coming on my stream and doing an hour, 45-minute interview. Everybody betrayed him. They turned their backs. I didn't. I saw the light. I saw what Stewie was capable of there. And I know what would be best for Stewie's career. It'd be to retire. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, that's all it really is. That's honest. That's the honest truth. He actually should really just be a content creator. He should probably just kind of continue feeding the news cycle. If he came up with hot takes, I think people would actually go crazy over them. If Stewie started saying things like, Simple wasn't even that good at the major, or if Stewie said a single thing about Simple, why would that not be a headline? Why is he not tweeting? Why is he not giving more? You know, these are people where I just think the pivot to content creation would be so strong for their brands, or they should actually just retire. And finally, we got him, okay? From the very get-go, from the very first signing leak that Snax was headed to G2, I was team fire the Poles, okay? Why do you hate Poland? I don't. I just didn't think at the time they were qualified for their jobs. Since then, my opinion has changed. I have taken in new data points. I have seen what Snax can offer a team. I've seen that Snax can be an asset. I saw at Shanghai that it wasn't Snax that dropped the ball, that it was NiKo, and I've since changed my opinion of NiKo. But my opinion of Snax ever since Shanghai has changed in a positive direction. And even though I founded the anti-Snax movement, I was the founder, I have since relinquished my duties. I have stepped down from the position, I hung it up, I got off the throne, I've made way for others, okay? Because Snax has gotten better, okay? Snax has improved as an individual and as a caller. I don't think that Snax was the problem when G2 didn't make it to the playoffs of the major, okay? I didn't think that he was propelling them against all odds to make it to the playoffs of the major, but he definitely wasn't the weak link, okay? If there were any polls to be fired at that point, it would have been hAdis. Okay, let's just get that aside. I love hAdis. He's gonna hope he moves forward with a new team or something like that. But Snax, on the other hand, could be on a team. And I think Snax deserves a shot. I actually think Snax proved himself more than Stanislaw. I think that's insane to say. Snax is actually the highest in-game leader on this list. Oh my God, how things have changed in the last 7 months, okay? I can't believe it myself that I am saying it, but I saw a lot of good things from the last 7 months from Snax, okay? It's, you know, I can't stay blind to my biases if there are new entries in my computer, okay? I'm a computer, okay? And I never stopped all the downloading, all right? And so I learned quite a bit about Snax. I feel like he got a little bit craftier and safer on his own individual CT side positions. I thought that he adjusted the T side calling to be more of what fits the roster as opposed to, and before, dude, he was using his pieces in a way that I thought was simplistic and almost barbaric. But at times it was effective. And again, I don't think that he was the problem in both of their major losses. I think Snax definitely deserves a shot. I'm proud of what Snax showed me. I think he's actually reconstructed his game significantly. I'm going to be honest about the beginning. Like the first 3-4 months, they were winning despite him. They were winning despite him. Despite, not to spite. It was to spite me, but it was despite him. Because he was selling rounds like crazy on that CT side. Dude, watch any CT side where he's playing B with Hunter, and it was the worst B defense duo on Dust 2 of all time in CS2. Of any tier 1 team, I have never seen a tier 1 duo be worse than Hunter and Snax on the B side of Dust 2. But that improved. They got a little bit better. They got a little bit craftier, started playing the meta positions, not going for random dry peeks into tunnels for no reason, and they assembled crossfires, okay? The calls also were tricky enough. They weren't too layered. He didn't give too much onus onto the players. And I'm not going to lie, a big turning point for me was the round on Ancient. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? I got to find it. Malbs made the mid-round call to go to the other bomb site, and I thought it was Snax.
They think he's B. They think he's B. They could lose this round right now. JL catches him in the air.
This.
He's dropped the bomb.
That was the round.
Overcooked.
And I went insane. I went insane against Snax. I was leading the charge, but then they showed the comms after that game, and it was Malbs. Malbs called that mid round. He said there's no one A or something like that, or last one B or something like that. He said something that was definitively we need to go A, and they just trusted Malbs instead, and that's why they lost the round. And so in that moment, I realized Snax is not the reason the mid rounds always look bad. And anti-Snax bigot becomes an advocate for tolerance after looking at the facts. Exactly. This feels unbelievable, but that's going to be it. That's my tier list, guys. I'll read everybody's names off once again here. I'll zoom out and completely. You can take screenshots, post it on Twitter, post it on HLTV forums, post it on 4chans. Just go for it. Just include my face. That's all I ask, okay? Should be playing now. Simple, Dexter, JL, Magixx, xFloud, Fozy. Deserves a shot. Magisk, arrrozdoce, Resalt, Snax, Hampus, Flemmus, Stanislaw. Could use a chance. Montu, Norbert, AZUWU, Nock, Forrester, Regon, Floppy, FaNg, Dexter, Haji, Slend, Henny, Djoko, Juanflatro, Mir, Fessor, NBK, NEKIZ, Shalfie. Tier 2, 3 should be playing there. aNdu, kicker, Crad, Freeman, Stadodo, Crucial, Buzz, Nico, Zorte, MHL, Mr., Volt, Altekz, iDISBALANCE, Infinite, Keto, Rush, Mighty Max, GXX, acoR, Anarchez, Bymas, Bartine, Skulls, Surreal, Lecro, Refresh. Stay down. And stay down is not completely negative, guys. It just means work on yourself. Work on yourself and then come back. Searson, Liazz, cadiaN, Burmylov, chayJESUS, Brehze, nafany, OC, jkaem, felps, AZUWU, interz, and retire. Again, sounds ruder than it really is. Sounds ruder than it truly is. I just think that the pivot to content creation for some of these guys, for 4 of these guys, would probably be better. Maybe 5 of them even would be better. And I'm talking about Stewie, Stiko, Jerry, cadiaN, and aLu. If they just pivot to content creation, I think their lives are probably better. That's why I put them in there. And then the 2 people that I think maybe just should retire are Roman and Ariel. That's my opinion. Okay? And as always, being toxic is a choice.